Hey guys, how's everybody? Apologize, I'm running a couple minutes late. My office, I think I was saying, has the picture came down and I had hung it up yesterday. Anyways, it doesn't seem to be working very well. So, had to run. Don't mind, I've got my kitchen and whatnot in the background, which is fine. So, welcome. So, today we're going to talk about how to detach from others' opinions so you can create the life of your dreams specifically. So one of the things we talked about yesterday is how we are each individual authorities over our own lives, right? And how important that is, that we take over our power. So today we're going to talk about how to detach from even other people's opinions that they give you that are true, how to decide what is true for you, how to stop engaging or trying to prove your truth to other people. So one of the things I do see a lot in my work is people who've been convinced that their particular, that they have to listen to other people or they have to engage when somebody wants to try to get them about a belief they have that's very different than that person's belief. So, we're going to talk about that, how to actually, we're going to give you some real life scenarios and action plans on how to do that. And then I'm going to give you an exercise at the end that is going to help you to see that you truly can get to where you want to go any way you want to. Okay. Right now, our news feeds and, social media feeds are absolutely teeming with people telling you that you can only get this life if you follow their particular program, if you do this specific thing. And that's actually not true. And we're going to talk about why. And I'm going to give you an exercise that you can do on your own tonight or at any time in the next week or whenever you really want to, that's going to help you to see that people get to where they want to go in so many different ways. So we're going to talk about that in a second. So again, thank you guys for being here, Manifest Your Dream Life Academy. I do want to tell you really quickly before we get going, I'm not sure if I've talked too much about this, but I do have an amazing practitioner certification. I'm going to do a open house for it this Friday, I think at noon. And pretty sure it's noon, I'll let you know. And the practitioner certification is basically taking everything that we're learning here, as well as learning how to decipher the message behind anyone's pain and disease in about a minute. And it's allowing people I'm actually training people to actually become practitioners of the work that I do. So you will actually be able, and as we move into the flow method, you're going to see how powerful this is. You will actually be able to, most of the time when somebody comes to me, within about 10 minutes, I'm usually able to get the exact underlying beliefs that are causing negative patterns, triggers, problems, sometimes less than that. It just depends on what it is. Usually it's like that quick. And I'm delighted to say that everyone who's come through my training is also able in less than 3 minutes to accurately translate the message behind anybody's pain and disease. So if you have ever, or if you just want high level support from me, because every single week you have a 1 hour private session. I'm only taking 4 to 6 people a month because I want to keep this so, I just want to make sure that it's the right people that I'm putting out there in the world to do this work. And so you literally have a tiny group of people that you're working directly with me. I'm helping you every single week personally with anything you're encountering. So it's one of the very best ways, honestly, and actually one of the most cost-effective ways to be able to work with me individually for 6 to 9 months, however long you decide it's going to take you to get through it. People can go through faster or slower. You can go at your own pace. Doesn't matter to me. As long as you get through it and you pass the test, you're good to go. Anyway, so if that's something you're interested in, definitely let me know. I'm very excited. I'm enrolling now for September, October, and November. Those are the kind of the months that we're enrolling right this instant. So you can start pretty much immediately, depending on we actually meet and make sure that you're a good fit and this is a good fit for you, because I don't want anybody to get in there then not be a good fit. So if that's something you'd like to dive deeper and you don't really care about the practitioner part of it, that's also fine. You can just use it for your own growth. The amount of growth that I'm seeing for people in the first 6 weeks is pretty nuts, because the first 6 weeks is all about really you clearing everything out, you really claiming your empath authority. It's all the stuff that you've got to do to be able to be an effective practitioner, but it also is incredibly life-changing. People are saying that first 6 weeks is one of the most powerful things they've ever done. So that means a lot to me, because, when you're ready, then when you clear all that out, then you're really ready. There's so many like coaching programs and practitioner programs, and they don't do that. They don't teach people how to get ready for actually taking on clients. And you've got to be at a certain level yourself to be able to do that. So without further ado, let's talk about the rest of this. If you're interested in it, put a comment, or you can reach out to me privately, which is totally fine as well. All right, so let me clear this out real quick. I've just got a thing right here. So we're going to talk about really quickly, first off, so we get really, really entrenched in life that there are certain truths that are just undeniable facts. And while I will say that any truth that involves harming another human being, I'm pretty much like, that's not okay. I can't really see how that's something that I can perceive from a different perspective. So if you're harming someone, that's different. However, there's so many different ways to look at literally anything that is possible. So here's the thing. Nothing is actually true for all people, so no truth can actually be the absolute truth. So because we're creating our own lives out of our own expectations, the only thing that is absolutely true for you is what you believe to be true, right? So, and then everyone else's perceptions can also be true for them, but just because they tell you that you have to believe them, it doesn't make it true, right? So I know this sounds kind of difficult and crazy. I tell you this because this is sort of foundational to being able to start to detach from other people's opinions. When you understand that their truth can be true for them and your truth can be true for you from your own perspective, and then you don't really have to engage. You don't have to feel like you have to take it on, okay? So I'm going to bring out some big guns. So Albert Einstein, his entire theory of relativity is literally that everything in life is relative to your point of view. So you can only say that the things you see, the way you're seeing things, is true for you, but it might not be true for everyone else. And the crazy thing is, totally opposing truths can actually be true at the same time, which again, hard to think of. And again, got to be honest with you, if somebody's harming another person, kind of can't. I just think that's a no for me. But so the idea is, let me give you an example. So the concept of time, right? Time, he says time is relative. So time can seem, 1 minute can seem like an hour, or it can seem like a second, depending on whether you're really super involved in things. I mean, I know myself when I'm really engrossed in something I'm creating. And for any of you out there that are artists or creators, or really all of us that have done something, whether it was something you love, a hobby, a sport, that time can fly by. An hour can seem like a minute, right? However, an hour can also seem like an eternity if you're stuck in a conversation with someone that is soul-sucking, right? So time is relative depending on your perception at that moment in time. So hopefully that makes sense. The other thing that helps me to think about this is the same is true for motion. So if you're sitting in a car and you're moving, right? And you're moving past a person who's standing at a bus stop, right? You're immediately thinking, well, I'm moving past that bus stop, right? I'm going past the bus stop. But if you threw a ball in the air in your car, it comes directly down to you. Right? It doesn't blow backwards even though you're in motion. So according kind of to the ball, you're not in motion. I know, guys, it's crazy. Neither viewpoint is really wrong. It's just based on the perspective. So everything is relative. Now, because of this, I want to implore you to stop obsessing over other people's opinions, okay? what I want you to start to think of is when somebody comes up to you with any opinion that does not match your own, you can definitely listen. We can always change our beliefs. I mean, hopefully within this program, within this academy, you've already started changing some beliefs because of the things you've learned. So listening, learning, digging into things, maybe shifting your opinion about something or your perspective about something, that's great. But you don't have to take it on anyone else's opinions as truth. Now, I don't know if anyone else has ever done this. If you have, you can let me know. I know there's been times in my life when I would lay in bed and think through everything I said in a conversation and worried about, did I say the right thing? Was, did that person take that wrong? Gosh, I hope they didn't think this or think that, right? And you lay there and you obsess over it. And we can play and replay those things in our minds, which allows doubt of ourselves to seep in. It becomes even worse when we're conversing with someone who really doesn't believe in the direction in life you're choosing to go, right? Maybe doesn't believe you can do it. Maybe thinks you're crazy for starting to do whatever you're trying to do. Maybe thinks you're crazy for even doing this program, right? Okay. And so that can start to seep in. That can start to create doubt. So the important thing to remember, though, is that person is looking at something, in this case, perhaps you, and they have chosen that that's their perception of the situation, but that doesn't mean that any of it's true for you. That can be their truth. That can be their perception. But just like the theory of relativity, it's all relative. Your truth can be true for you, and they can feel whatever they want to feel. It doesn't mean you have to take it on, okay? Now, again, this can cause, as we talked about yesterday, it can definitely cause some ripple effects in your life where things start to shift. People start to either fall away or get more aggressive with you, tell you you've changed. Well, yeah, I've changed. I've changed for the good. I'm just not, I'm not your beck and call anymore, or whatever it is, right? So I just want you to think about when somebody comes up to you with a certain opinion on you or your life or their whatever it is, even if you think it's an authority figure, okay? So I'm a big one because I see this quite a bit on my healing side, where people have been told some things by doctors as absolute truths that actually, when you look into it, are not absolute truths, because there's so many factors, for instance, to someone's healing, right? And so because of that, that person has taken on a belief that's contrary to healing, okay? And so therefore that sends what message to their bodies? It sends a message that that person's the authority. I'm giving all my authority to them. I'm not allowed to question them. And I don't know about you, but a lot of people were brought up in situations where they weren't allowed to question supposed authorities in their lives, whether it's religious figures, whether it's doctors, whether it's coaches and teachers. I'm not saying be disrespectful in your questioning of it at all, but a healthy inquisitiveness, a healthy self-concept can help you to be able to question things that just are not something that you want to take on as part of your life, okay? So I'll give you an example. When I was about probably 25, 24, I had seen something traumatic happen. And it was one of those things that I couldn't shut it off in my brain. I kept going to sleep. I'm a very happy, optimistic, very even-keeled person. I'm genuinely exactly how you see now. If you meet me in real life, this is just how I am. But I would go to bed each night and it was like playing and replaying in my mind, playing and replaying in my mind. And I was just feeling really sad. I'd feel the pain of what happened to this particular, it happened to be an animal. And because I'm an empath, I had taken it into my soul. I could like really feel it in my body, right? And so finally, I thought there was really something wrong with me. So I researched and I went to this therapist and I was like, geez, I don't know what's wrong. Like, I can't help it. I feel so sad over this. And I keep thinking about it. It makes me cry. And this therapist actually tried to diagnose me as bipolar. bipolar is a real thing. It absolutely affects people. I am not saying that, but in my case, ludicrous. Now, thank goodness I had enough self-awareness at that moment in time to look at that woman and be like, that is 100% not what's going on. At that point, I didn't realize I was an empath. I didn't realize I was taking on all of the pain and suffering of the whole world. I didn't get that it was causing me to feel that kind of like up and down kind of stuff. Had I not questioned that authority, had I not gotten up and walked out, I would have probably been diagnosed with and medicated for something that is absolutely not even close. I came home and I lived with my sister at the time, and I told her, and she just looked at me like, what? Because it's so like absolutely the counter. So how can somebody tell you that in 10 minutes of you telling them it? So my point is, so many times I see so many people come to me and they've been harmed by the opinions of supposed authorities in their life, whether it's parents, doctors, nurses, bosses, teachers, etc. So what I ask of you is to think about, as you're thinking through the things you've taken on in your life, as you're going through your day and encountering other people's opinions and thoughts, just know that it's okay always to take a moment and really question if that truth is going to come into you as a truth that then becomes part of your body. The next thing is I want to talk about that your subconscious mind doesn't take a joke. So we talked yesterday about the fact that there's sort of the captain's chair and the crew kind of has to do whatever the captain says, right? So your subconscious mind is a lot like the crew, right? It has to do it, whatever the conscious mind's sending back there and coding in. It can't question it, isn't able to question it. So I tend to, and I've said it a couple times, I have a very silly sense of humor. And that's a great, please have a very silly sense of humor. One thing I want you to bring some awareness to is how you jokingly put yourself down throughout the day, okay? So I used to do this somewhat myself, that sort of self-deprecating humor. Your subconscious gets the intention of it, but when we do it over and over again, it starts to become something that becomes real. So for instance, I do Taekwondo, and one of the ladies kept talking about how old we are and how we're not spring chickens anymore and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, I have full confidence that my body can still do these things, right? If we keep joking that we're not spring chickens, what message is that going to send to our subconscious? I mean, is it going to make us younger? It's not. So just make yourself aware of the ways that you are speaking to yourself as well, because you are the ultimate authority over your own mind, body, and life. So your subconscious is taking what you're doing and thinking and saying, and it's working to make it real. Okay. So take that position of authority and make sure that what you're sending back there is what you really want to send back there, if that makes sense. The next thing I want to talk about is, okay, so many times in life, as we're talking through all of this, and especially I feel like right now, there's so much division, right? And people are like screaming at each other, like this, which there are things, let me just be very clear. There are things that are very important to stand up for. There are things that are very important to protest. It does not mean that we actually have to get into massive conflict with other people or try to convince another person of our perspective in order for us to go ahead and proceed on our day-to-day life. So let me give you an example. I'll give you this funny example that I talk about in the book. So when I was in college, one of my friends had a pet iguana named Charlie, and Charlie was like this cool, really cool thing. First time I'd ever really been around an iguana. He was like the most chill little creature. But whenever Charlie felt like a little bit worried or threatened, he would just close his eyes. And when he closed his eyes, it was like the threat's not there because I can't see it. It was like, I'm not engaging. It's not there because I'm not looking at it, right? And it used to kind of crack me up. But as I was working on developing out the flow method and all that kind of stuff, I started thinking about this concept of when we are encountering other people's opinions and they come up to us in these really kind of aggressive ways, and maybe our own sense of self becomes threatened by these opinions of other people, our reaction is oftentimes that fight response of like standing up, defending ourselves, getting into it with another person, trying to prove that the other person's perspective is wrong. But there's another path, and it can be inspired by Charlie. I'm not suggesting you just close your eyes. What you can decide is that can be true for you, and my truth can be true for me, and I'm not engaging. Okay? Imagine if you just stopped engaging with people that came up to you trying to convince you of something that for you is not true. So trying to convince you of, that you're being selfish because you're standing up for yourself, right? That's something that almost instantly is going to cause you to try to defend yourself. And if anybody's been in that, I've certainly been in that position. Somebody calling me selfish because I'm actually setting a boundary or standing up for myself. A lot of empaths go through this you're going to go through this, quite honestly, as you are setting these boundaries and changing things. There's going to be people that think you're selfish. They're probably going to say it. You don't have to defend yourself in that situation. They can actually think that. They can actually think, if they want to think it, they can. And in fact, my favorite response in that situation is, that's not true. You can think it, but that's not true. But you are welcome to think it. You're totally welcome to think it. I'm not engaging, because if anybody has ever tried to defend themselves against someone who is absolutely committed to misunderstanding you, does it work? Ever? Or did you just walk away drained of literally all of your energy and starting to doubt yourself? Okay? So pay attention to that. And in fact, feel free to steal my phrase, hey, you can think it if you want to. It's not true, but you're welcome to think it. Okay? You can literally it's the path of non-resistance, right? You're not taking on that other person's truth as you. You're not. You don't have to take it on. You're just simply saying, I'm not defending myself, not getting into it. All right. So the final thing I want to talk about today, because this can stop so many amazing people from going after their dreams. So I want you to think about whatever it is that your goals are as you're moving through this academy, as you're realigning, as you're doing this work. And whatever those goals are, okay, there may be people in your life that have said, or you may think, oh, I'm too old to do this, or I'm too skinny to do it. I'm too fat to do it. I'm too out of shape. I'm not smart enough. I don't come from the right place. Gotta hear that one. Like, I don't come from the right place. I don't do this. I don't do that, right? Whatever it is that you want to do or be, hundreds of people have done it. And they have come, I promise you, from all walks of life. They look like completely different people. They are different ages. They are different everything, different ethnicity, different skin tone, different orientations, different whatever. So what I want you to do as an active way of convincing yourself that whatever you desire is available to you and that other people have in fact done it, is I want you to think about finding someone, go online, go on Google, and literally type in whatever it is that you want to be. Looking, something like celebrities who have done XYZ, right? And read about their life stories. Read about people who are like you that have done the things that you desire to do, okay? I love biographies for this exact reason, because people's life stories are endlessly fascinating. There is nobody that has gotten through without having difficulties and conflicts and obstacles and things that have stopped them, but they kept on going, right? And so I want you to think about like the people, the Wright brothers. People had to think they were insane when they started saying that they were going to develop a flying machine. Had to think they were insane. Can you imagine the amount of people that were like, that, your sons are crazy, Mrs. Wright, they've lost their whatever. And yet we now have airplanes. I just flew on a lovely airplane for 10 hours and woke up in a completely different city halfway around the world, because they refused to believe that perspective. Oprah Winfrey I mean, she came from a very difficult childhood, and she must have encountered, I don't know how many people who told them it was impossible, told her it was impossible. She'd never be this. And look at her now, right? So my homework, if you want to call it, my practice for you today is post in the group your goals. Post what you're going for, okay? Because everyone in there is 100% supportive. And if anybody wasn't, they're out. But they are. They're all wonderful people. Post in the group, okay? Then I want you to take some time to research people who've done what you desire to do. Find out about their lives. Find out about what they did, how they did it, how they ignored the naysayers and did it. And then, if you encounter people that are telling you that you can't do it, not only do you now know that their perspective can be fine for them and your perspective is fine for you, but you can also, with authority, say, that's complete rubbish. I don't have to believe that because I now know of 15 people who've done it. I should be on Wikipedia. Well, Wikipedia is an interesting little place. Oh, there's another show I love named 30 Rock, and they were messing with the one character, and they wrote up this whole false thing about Janis Joplin. Anyways, and so she thought that it was true, and anyway, so maybe double research things a little bit, but mostly I want you to find these things that are going to inspire you, okay? You can even take this as a daily thing. Look up someone's life story and read it to inspire yourself that people that are just like you have done exactly what you want to do, okay? All right, so that's my goal for you today. I want you just to remember this final quote from Buddha, or at least attributed to Buddha. I double checked it. It's supposed to be right. Believe nothing, no matter where you have read it or who has said it, not even if I've said it, unless it agrees with your own reason and your own common sense. Okay, I want to leave you with that thought because you are the authority over your own life. You create the life you desire with your beliefs. Okay, that's why I like people questioning me. That's why I like people asking questions and saying, hey, I want to think about that. Or I never want you just to take something on blindly. Never, never. Okay, never. Take it on because it resonates with you and it's going to uplift your life. Okay. So that's what I want to leave you with. So if you have not taken the flow factor test, please make sure you do take it. It's very easy to do. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about that flow factor test. We're going to talk about the stations, and we're going to start getting into how do you start personalizing your action plans. And this is where, guys, you're going to start to see, and I appreciate all of you who've stuck with me through this science, and hopefully, the science for me just helps lay that foundation of, I know that what I'm doing makes sense and there's a reason that it works, right? So we'll have a little bit more science, but we're really, oh, that's right, full moon earrings on a full blue moon. It was stunning last night, if anybody saw it. I didn't even mean to do that. I just like these earrings. Anyways, so hopefully you guys are ready, but this is where we start to see massive, massive shifts. And again, if you're interested in talking to me about the practitioner certification, let me know. I would be delighted to just chat with you, see if it's right. And again, I'm going to do an open house this Friday. I got to double check the time I scheduled it. I think it's noon my time. And I will put that in the group as well. So you can pop in and check that out as well if you want to. Thanks for being here, you guys. I really hope that these last couple of lessons have convinced you that you have the right to create the life of your dreams as you see fit. Again, as long as you're not harming other people or yourself, I'm good. That's good frequency. Okay, make it happen. All right, sending you guys love. Tomorrow is an exciting day. We're really going to dig deep. I actually might have some things so you can see. Thanks, Joan, too. And Rachel, thank you so much. And everybody on the live stream, I forgot to grab I was so flummoxed that my painting was still not hanging right. Something's telling me to reorganize my office, I think. That I went running around like a crazy person before this and I forgot my phone, so I can usually check the live stream. I will get to live stream comments in a second. Thanks you guys so much for being here. Again, post in the group your goals. Let us support you, and then go research and see what you can find about people who've been there and done that. See you soon. See you tomorrow, you guys.